Hi, I tell a lot of people, or I've had discussions about when the Beatles split and would they prefer them to carry on and blah blah blah. And I always say, well, I think they finished at the right time. And what's more, when we got into the 70s, we had some tremendous new artists to listen to. So, did we need the Beatles in the 70s? Maybe not. Maybe some people do, but I think we're okay with the Beatles as they were in the 60s, and that's where they belong, and that's why I tend to think, well, let's leave them there. So into the 70s, there was so much more to choose, So, and one of the people I really admired was David Bowie, and I would say David Bowie and the Beatles are for me the two main ones, and everybody else follows. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go through my 1970s collection of Bowie albums, which I bought throughout the 70s, and I'll pick out some highlights, and I'll pick out some tracks, or I'll pick out a least favourite track as we go along. So I haven't heard many of these Bowie albums for a while, so it's all off the top of my head. So I've not got any preformed opinions at the moment, so I'm just going to go through and see what happens. Okay, so we'll start with an album that came out in 1972, but was a reissue from a 1969 album, and this is called Space Oddity. When it came out in 69, it was called David Bowie, but it was sort of known as a Space Oddity album nevertheless. This is a good album. It should have been a hit in 69, but for some reason it didn't get picked up on, even though Space Oddity was a great single which did well in the UK charts. Least favourite track on this one, I think, is Janine, which is side 2, track 1. The highlight, I think, An Occasional Dream. I quite like that one. It's sort of a throwback to 60s stuff. So there we have it, from 72. Moving on, another reissue from 72, the Kick album version of The Man Who Sold the World. Now this one, along with the Space Oddity album, were reissued by RCA Labels, which was David's new label at the time, to cash in on the popularity of Ziggy Stardust. And this is a great album. I remember the Dress album coming out. I can remember that before this one, but I wish I'd have bought that now, because it's quite a valuable album. If you can get that one in nice condition, or even poor condition. But this is a great album. But least favourite track, I would say, is Superman. Highlight is all the Madmen. Some great singing in that one from Bowie. It's some of his great vocals throughout on this album. So hard to pick a least favourite, but it's actually the Superman or the Madmen as a highlight. Right, first Bowie album ever bought was 71, Hunky Dory. Great album. Things were picking up a little bit here. I remember Tony Blackburn on Radio 1. He had a Radio 1 breakfast show in the morning from 7 till 9, something like that. Remember, he used to have a record of the week, and he picked out one particular week, Changes, which was a single. Didn't get anywhere, but Tony Blackburn must have helped a little bit with that one, and I remember hearing that, thinking that's good, I like that one, and managed to get Hunky Dory. And probably least favourite track, I think, is got to be Fill Your Heart, really, which was a Biff Rose song. I like it, but it's least favourite. And the highlight is the Bewley Brothers, especially the last 2 or 3 minutes of the Bewley Brothers. It's great stuff. Right, trying to move quickly on because it's all familiar stuff to a lot of people, but if you're not familiar with it, I'm not going too quickly. Right, so this is Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, The Rise and Fall of. Now this is where Davey took off. He came on Top of the Pops one particular Thursday night on the BBC, performing Starman, and the rest is history. I think a lot of people do mention that performance, especially when he sort of goes, I had to phone someone so I picked on you. And me, and he looked like he was just pointing directly at you, you know. It was great. Highlight, got to be Moon Age Daydream with the fabulous Mick Ronson on guitar. Last couple of minutes of that, the guitar solo on that is just out of the world. The production of it is great. Least favourite track, It Ain't Easy. Right, okay. Next one, Aladdin Sane. Now this is the first album what David made whilst being famous, as it were. It's a good album. Well, I think following on from Ziggy and Hunky Dory, probably slight dip, not much, but still a good album. Highlight is, I would say, Lady Grinning Soul, with some fabulous keyboard from Mike Garson, and Bowie sings that absolutely brilliantly. His favourite track, possibly Panic in Detroit. Difficult to pick, but got to pick something. Right, next one, 74, following on from 73, Aladdin Sane. This was a covers album, all 1960s songs, all from bands Bowie used to see in the Marquee Club in London. And he's got Twiggy there, and that's David, just in case you didn't know. Cover versions from bands like The Who, Them, The Mojos, Pink Floyd, Sid Barrett's Pink Floyd, and many, many more. Them. Right, so a highlight on this one is Rosalind, there, that first track. Now when that finishes, and when Here Come the Night starts by them, there's a fantastic connection between them two songs. Absolutely love that one. Check that one out if you haven't, but it's great. Least favourite track, Anyway, Anyhow, Anywhere, which is the Who track. Don't particularly like the Who's version of that one, so it's Goodbye Bowie, but my least favourite. Right, following on to 1974, we have Diamond Dogs, a gatefold sleeve, set in a dystopian world. Right, so this one is absolutely great. Highlight has got to be, now we've got a 3-song suite here. We've got Sweet Thing, Candidate, and then a reprisal of Sweet Thing. It's all one song, all one piece of music, but the ending of Sweet Thing reprise, it goes into this sort of rhythmic, grinding guitar, thumping beat and bass, and all of a sudden it sort of stops fairly dead, and we've got this scratchy sort of guitar, which then leads us into Rebel Rebel, a familiar riff of Rebel Rebel. That is great, and that's got to be possibly Bowie's finest moment. It's absolutely great. There we go. So that's Diamond Dogs. Least favourite track, I think would be. It's hard to say really. I'd go with Rock and Roll with Me, I think, on that least favourite. Right. After that, Diamond Dogs came a live album, David Live, featuring tracks from Diamond Dogs, Aladdin Sane, Ziggy, blah blah blah. Live album, double, good album, good live album. Not much to say about that one, so we'll move on quickly. Next studio album, 1975, Young Americans, featuring John Lennon on the track Fame, and also Across the Universe. I think David asked John to come along to play on Across the Universe, and he ended up jamming in the studio, and Fame was born. So I think if Lennon hadn't been in the studio at that point, maybe we wouldn't have had Fame. I don't know, possibly not. But Fame is a highlight for sure. And also another highlight is the sax solo or the sax introduction from Somebody Up There Likes Me, played by David Sanborn. It's great, I've loved that ever since it first came out. Least favourite track I would go with Across the Universe, because I don't think it really fits the rest of the album too well. So I would pick that one out as a least favourite. Right, following on to 1976, we've got Station to Station. Now this is a great album. Saw David in 76 as part of the Isola tour. Where would it be? Wembley Arena, Middlesex. It was called the Empire Pool in them days. Great show that was. It was all dressed in black and white lighting, very stark, white lights blasting down on him. It was great, a great concert indeed that one was. So Least favourite track, it's hard to say with this one because there's only 6 tracks and everyone's a winner, should we say. All killer, no filler. But I would have to go maybe Stay. I had to pick one. It's hard to say. Stay is great. Highlight, first couple of minutes or so of the title track, Station to Station. Got the sound of a train and then this rhythm and and then the vocals come in from Bowie and it just goes off somewhere else after that, but the first few minutes, tremendous. Right, so I've got the price tag on this one, £3.69, 1970. I think I was thinking 1977. I think I was thinking in these days album prices were going up a bit, and also the vinyl was getting thinner too, so never mind, the music was still great. This was first in line of the Berlin trilogy, so this is low. The picture David from the Man Who Fell to Earth movie. Highlight on this one I think is when Mary Hopkin sings her little bit on Sound and Vision. Least favourite track, What in the World. So Heroes came second of the trilogy, the Berlin trilogy. Highlight on this one, Blackout. I'm not going to pick a least favourite track because I haven't got a least favourite track on this one. I can't pick one. I've just had a look at the list there and I just can't pick one out at all. But Blackout, there's a portion of the vocals in that where Bowie screams some vocals in Blackout and it's great. So I'm not going to say least favourite on that one. Can't do it. Next, another live album. Saw this show as well, 1978. Great stuff. Nice to hear Ziggy Stardust in 1978, so I think that might be a highlight if I was going to pick one on this one, but with it being a live album, no need to pick highlights or favourite tracks, I don't think. Or even least favourite tracks. Right. Third of the Berlin trilogy. Lodger. Good album. Highlight, Boys Keep Swinging, the last 2 or 3 minutes. Great stuff. Bowie knew how to end a song. That's great. Least favourite, Red Sails. Enough said. Right, so that's them all 1970s. We're in 1980 now, but I've got to include this one really because I feel like this belongs with those set of albums for some reason. I don't know why, it just feels right. This is Scary Monsters and Super Creeps. Ashes to Ashes was on this one and it was a hit single in August of 1980. And I can remember this Ashes to Ashes getting to #1 in the singles chart in the UK. And I also found out around about that time as John Lennon and Yoko Ono were back in the studio making a new album. I was really pleased, so I thought, well, David's at #1 and we've got John Lennon coming back soon, so it was good days. Right. Okay, so yeah, that's it really. That's done, we're done. These represent something very close here, as did the Beatles albums from the 60s. I equally love these from the 70s, stroke 80. So anyway, so we'll cut that one there, cut that one short at that point and say thanks for watching, bye bye and stay safe and I'll catch you later.